and for the final game that decided the series, Hanwha picked blue side, and they had to change their bans after 2 games banning the same champion. So they still banned TF, but they also banned Gumayusi's Jinx. So now they made it more targeted into T1, and they also banned Tryndamere because even though T1 didn't play it in this series, they wanted to, basically, I think that they were planning to pick either Jace or Gwen, so they wanted to remove Tryndamere because Tryndamere counters both of these champions. And T1 also changed their bans as well. So again, they banned Zerif because they lost from it in the first game, and Gumayusi apparently was not ready to pick it for himself. Also, they were playing from red side, so even if they wanted to pick it from Gumayusi, Hanwha would have the first pick of the game. So they removed Zerif for that reason. Corki was played only once from carries. So I guess this is more of a global ban. And Yuumi, for the same reason that they always ban Yuumi, because now with the Enchanters support meta, Yuumi can be dangerous, and they can also, like, she can be really attached into junglers, and On Flick was on point in this series, so having Yuumi on top of him would be also extra dangerous. Hanwha did like, for me, I didn't like that they picked Caitlyn on B1, because by picking Caitlyn, you're giving T1 the chance to pick Karma. As you know, if they wanted to pick Caitlyn and Lux, T1 would find ways to counter them, because Keria was the first player that I've seen during this split that he counterpicked Lux with Karma. So if they wanted T1, they could easily take Karma with maybe Ezreal or Jhin, and then if Hanwha picked Lux for Caitlyn, I think that they would be on the bad spot. So T1, like, Hanwha were lucky that T1 didn't pick Karma in the first 2 picks. They went with Xin Zhao and Jhin instead. Very common duo. I mean, they're not playing on the bottom lane, but basically we have seen EDG using this Xin Zhao Jhin combo, where basically Xin Zhao knocks someone up and then it is followed up from Jin's W. EDG have played this many times, either with Xin Zhao and Jhin, or with Jarvan and Jhin. And the reason I think that they didn't pick Karma here is because, again, they were planning to go with Tamkens. And yes, I mean, we're talking about Keria here. He's always one step ahead compared to other supports when finding new meta picks, and Tamkens was buffed on 12.2, so he was nerfed as a top laner, but he was buffed as support, and of course they have practiced this, so they didn't care about picking the Karma and denying it from Hanwha. So Hanwha picked it for themselves to match it with Caitlyn, along with Jarvan, as we've seen in the previous games. And then in the second ban phase, both teams banned mid lane picks. Akali is considered a flex pick because it can go top lane as well with a Chemtech build. But in my opinion, Hanwha should they should ban also a top laner instead of 2 mid laners, since they had to blind pick their top lane option. I think if they wanted to pick they banned Tryndamere in the first phase, which means that they were planning to pick either Gwen or Jace. So in my opinion, they should also ban Jax in one of these 2 bans, so that they can give more options, less options to T1 to counter Gwen top lane. Instead, they went with LeBlanc and Azir. So T1 closed the draft with Victor against Orianna, so 2 control mages, and then we have Gwen versus Jace, not really counter picking her. So at the end of the day, I think that both drafts are okay. I don't think that I can give a clear draft advantage to neither of these teams. So when we are in a situation like this, when both drafts look okay and we don't really have counter picks, we just have to see other details, like which team has better backline access. In this case, Hanwha have better backline access with Jarvan, Orianna's wombo combo, and with Gwen's flanks. But T1 have better wave clear, which means that they have to force Hanwha to come into them. And usually, whenever a better team forcing the weaker team on paper to come into them. Usually the weaker team always mess up their composition. So yeah, better backline engage for Hanwha, better wave clear for T1. So it would come to execution because on paper both drafts look okay, and we have high range AD carry, high range AD carry. We have bruiser jungler versus bruiser jungler, and they scale the same way. We have control mage mid mid for Hanwha, and both top laners spike really well on 2 items. So when Gwen gets her first 2 items, she can spike really well. She has very good sustain, but Jace also has very strong poke damage when he gets his 2 items as well. So yeah, everything would come down on execution. We didn't have anything significant happen in the first 5 minutes of the game. This game, OnFlick didn't track owner properly, so they started opposite ways. So they never met with each other to fight. Nobody dived any side lanes. So the first blood came right here, where owner, as you can see, he's pathing bot lane. OnFlick just left bot lane, so he checked and then he left. And here Vista, even though he avoided the Tamken's knockup, instead of flashing, so here, even though Vista avoided Keria's knockup, instead of flashing through the wall, he flashed forward, and owner followed up and managed to easily pick up the first blood of the game. Again, diving his bot lane and giving them more advantage, since, as you can see, Gumayusi already had a 10 CS advantage. So yeah, nothing crazy, but I just wanted to show you the first blood because it could have been avoided if Vista flashed through the wall and not just in a straight line. And here Dudu managed to solo kill Zeus as well, who in this game picked teleport instead of ignite, which is more worth, of course. But yeah, he was playing on the limit, like he was limit testing, and he got killed. So yeah, if we can see the replay, if they can show the replay. Yeah, oh, I can't take it on point. Okay, so here, I mean, all Vista had to do was flash through the wall, and he just flew. I mean, he could see that Gumayusi already tried to root him with his W, so and owner was coming up. I don't know why he didn't flash through the wall, but yeah, first blood for T1, and then as we saw, Dudu managed to kill Jace. And I would say that Dudu is doing very well so far in the split, because last year he was a substitute to Morgan. And we're gonna see the first Herald setup, which actually was not done from T1 as they are used to do. The main point is that Gumayusi and Keria could not take priority mid lane. Yes, T1 have priority mid and top, but you always need either your support or AD carry, or both of them, to join you in this Herald setup. So here T1, even though they have priority mid and top, they're actually coin flipping it. And owner will try to turn into OnFlick and try to split them up. But this was a nice double knockup from OnFlick, followed from Oriana's Shockwave wombo combo. So they managed to kill Zeus and then Faker. And here Vista, if you can see after these kills, Vista tried to block T1's exit route. So you can see Vista trying to blocking them as they try to escape, but unfortunately for Hanwha, they didn't manage to finish off owner, as he was saved from Keria. And Keria, in my opinion, was the MVP in this game because his devour. By devouring his teammates, he managed to save them many times and in many crucial teamfights, especially the last one that decided the game. But yeah, this was not a clean setup for T1. And I'm saying this because they are one of the best teams who can set up Heralds really well. But because Gumayusi and Keria didn't have priority bot, basically it turned out to be a 3 versus 3. Or 4 versus 4, and when this happens, it always comes down to execution and mechanics, and you don't really know what's going to happen. So you can always, you can never count yourself that you're gonna win the fight based on your mechanics, and in this case, Hanwha managed to win that skirmish and grab the Herald. So this is what I'm talking about. So it's a 3 versus 3. And yeah, I mean, owner turned on Flick, but now it's all about mechanics and execution. So it's a coin flip at the end of the day. So nice double knockup from OnFlick, followed by Orianna's ultimate. They killed Zeus, they killed Faker who was trapped, and yeah, Owner was barely saved from Keria. But the most important thing is that Hanwha grabbed 3 kills and the Herald as well. This game was very close, as you can see from the gold difference as well. Like just Hanwha have 300 gold lead, which is nothing. So yeah, both teams were going back and forth. Few minutes earlier, they traded top turret for bot. So T1 took Hanwha's top turret and Hanwha took T1's bot turret. And here, like, this is not the cleanest game from T1 based on what we have used from them, because they crashed this Herald mid because they can't push bot, but they were matched in numbers from Hanwha. And Owner got caught, but he was barely saved from Keria. Again, Keria, MVP of this game. Gumayusi killed on Flick, but then Hanwha traded that kill on Faker. And unfortunately, after they killed Faker, unfortunately for T1, take a look at Zeus. He accidentally misclicked on Caitlyn's trap, and he got killed as well. And okay, so this fight was over. Hanwha matched T1's Herald crash, which means that it's bad. It's another coin flip skirmish, and the fight was over here. It was won from Hanwha, and I don't know why, even though the fight was won from Hanwha, Owner just decided to turn around and dive their backline by himself right here, and he got killed as well. So this was a free kill from Owner, but yeah, this game was so close, and you can see that when the games are so close, even the so-called weaker teams on paper, if they can match well the higher teams in terms of tempo and macro, they can always make them look, basically, they make them struggle with their macro, because I'm sure that T1 players know that it's not worth to crash Herald mid lane when the enemy team is matching you on numbers, and this was a 4 versus 4, actually 5 versus 5, so all of them were matching them. There are no plates in this second tower, so there's nothing for T1 to take, and they conflipped the whole Herald crash, and they paid for it. And yeah, I mean, they traded 1 kill, like Gumayusi killed on Flick, then Faker died, then Zeus misclicked on Trap. You can see nobody's pressuring him, so he was just a mechanic misplay here from Zeus, and then Owner with the bad decision making to just engage by himself on Hanwha's backline. Even though Keria just flashed away and he was running away from the teamfight. And not only that, the reason I wanted to show you this teamfight is because Hanwha, after that, they grabbed the dragon, and yeah, we can see that Gumayusi killed Vista, but it doesn't matter because Hanwha were the winners at the end of this whole skirmish, because T1 didn't take anything from the Herald crash, no plates, no gold. They lost the teamfight, and then Hanwha grabbed dragon as well. And yeah, this is why I like Jack, Seth, and Gwen, because it's really hard for 2 people to dive these champions. So here, Owner and Zeus couldn't kill Dudu, which is going to give the opportunity to Hanwha to take this mid turret. So you see, it's a very close game, actually. And then T1 turned around. Gwen has to reset, so he cannot teleport, and we have this back and forth from both teams. But again, we're just watching some kills here, so there's not, like, neither of these teams really managed to take anything. Maybe it was more worth for Hanwha, since at the end of the day it was 2 for 1, but Hanwha took the mid turret as well. Okay, so the biggest turning point for T1 was this whole sequence that's going to happen here. So yeah, up until that point, both teams were trading back and forth. Hanwha broke T1's base from top lane. T1 broke Hanwha's base bot lane. At least they were having priority. So yeah, both teams were going back and forth. And now they're both trying to get strong side control for this Baron. But this is what I mentioned in the draft phase. So Hanwha is the team that has the hard engage advantage. They have better backline access and more CC for T1. But they have to walk into T1, and T1 are being patient. So here, Dudu is gonna die in top lane from Zeus in a 1 versus 1, and on Flick is just looking for an engage. He's just face checking blindly, and nice TP flank from Faker. on Hanwha's jungle, so they're trying to find a pick on Flick, and even though they didn't kill him, basically you can see how low HP he is, so now they're forcing him to either reset or to smite his camps. You can see he has to reset, and from all of this sequence, T1 found the strong pick on the top side of the map in order to take this Baron. And yeah, we're gonna see the replay, but they're gonna stop it because after that we're gonna have this Baron fight. And yeah, you see, they're being patient, and OnFlick is the one who always has to walk into them. And when he fails, then the rest of Hanwha are just sitting ducks. So yeah, another 50-50 Baron, but T1 already started it because they had a strong side, and in the issuing in the team fight that issued after that, T1 managed to actually get the better of Hanwha. 2-for-1, and then they just backed off because they won the objective. But you can, like, this is the first time the game was so close up until that point, but in my opinion this was the massive turning point for T1 to start winning the game, because like I said, OnFlick had issues walking into them, and like I said in the draft phase, the winner of this game would come based on execution. So yeah, since OnFlick is always poked, and like he's just walking forward and he's getting poked, T1 can always wait patiently and find their picks, and then find strong sides and take objectives. And I mean, again, they're showing Carrier's pro view because, again, his Devour was very crucial in this teamfight to save his teammates. And again, you see, and I'm gonna close the video after this teamfight. You see, OnFlick, again, he's trying to walk into T1 because they have no option. Like, Hanwha's strongest point based on their draft is to walk into T1 and try to find the Jarvan Orianna wombo combo. But T1 are cutting them properly, they are poking them properly, and again, they manage to kill OnFlick and then deny this dragon from Hanwha. I'm gonna show you one more teamfight. Actually, I'm not gonna stop the video here. But yeah, you can see, like, in 2 objectives in a row that OnFlick found the same issues, basically. So it's not like T1's composition was better, but Hanwha didn't execute their comp at best. And then they got on the back foot in this game, even though up until the late game, they were always taking the dragons, they were pushing T1, but they never found the big team fight engage with Jarvan and Orianna to snowball the game harder. And T1 were patient, and you can see again the kiting and the poke into this Jarvan. And of course, after that, the rest of Hanwha players are just like sitting ducks, getting poked, and they cannot follow up if Jace is dead. So now the gold is even, but I would say that Hanwha are on the back foot, and T1 slowly starting to turn the game around. And the last team fight is this one. So as you can see, Hanwha, they grabbed Dragon Soul, which is Ocean Drake. But again, T1 are forcing them on the same play like we seen in the previous Baron, in the previous Dragon. So again, OnFlick. So this team fight is what makes the best players show up. So basically, this was a nice chance for OnFlick to find the wombo combo with Orianna's Shockwave. But look at Zeus. As soon as Jarvan ulted them with Orianna's Shockwave, Zeus pushed him back with Thundering Blow, and basically they managed to avoid Jarvan Orianna's wombo combo. They took Baron, and nobody's touching Kumayusi in the backline. And yeah, from that point on, like, T1 started to turn the game around, actually. Now it's really on their favor because now they have Baron. Look at this bottom inhibitor from Hanwha. So T1 will keep pushing them. They're gonna deny them. They're gonna take another dragon for themselves this time. I mean, the other dragon is gonna be Elder. So yeah, we're gonna see the replay. Take a look at Zeus' Thundering Blow. He immediately pushed Jarvan away as soon as he engaged them, and then with Gumayusi being on the backline, basically the Hanwha were just sitting ducks. Yeah, I said that many times in this review, but yeah, I'm saying the same words basically because the last 3 decisive teamfights were exactly the same way, more or less, with OnFlick trying to find an engage, T1 denying them from that, poking him down, kiting him, and then winning the objectives, taking the objectives for themselves. And this is finally gonna be the final team fight, which ended the game. Because as you can see, it's a 46-minute game. So both teams have the same item spikes, but this is where Keria was the MVP for me, because he flashed to devour and save Faker, and then again Gumayusi is not getting engaged from anyone. And because Keria saved Faker at the last second, now T1 had both their carry champions, both Victor and Jhin, and they also have Jace, so basically they have 3 champions with a lot of poke damage, and they finally managed to finish off this game and win the series T1. 2-1. But yeah, it was a very competitive series. I was impressed from Hanwha with how they handled this game, considering that T1 were undefeated, and great performance from On Flick as well. But T1 managed to win the series, moving to 7-0. So that's gonna be it for that series. Thanks for watching. GG.